Are you looking for a new whiskey adventure? Then climb in and buckle up. Get ready for one hell of a ride on the Whiskey Trip podcast with your host, Big Chief. Join in as he and his guests explore whiskey and dive into whiskey stories from around the world. Now here's your host, Big Chief.
Folks, you know, here on the Whiskey Trip, we celebrate more than just the pour in our glass. We celebrate heritage, tradition, and the stories that make this country what it is. That's why I'm proud to tell you about our friends at the Heritage Flag Company. These aren't just flags, they're handcrafted works of art built from whiskey and bourbon barrels that once held the spirit we all love. Every cut, every nail, every burn mark tells a story of patience and craftsmanship. Just like the whiskey we sip, these flags are bold, timeless, and full of character. Whether you hang one in your home bar, your man cave, or gift it to a veteran or first responder, a heritage flag isn't just decor. It's a statement. It says you believe in freedom, tradition, and the legacy we pass down. So saddle up, whiskey family, and head over to theheritageflag.com. Use code WhiskeyTrip10 at checkout for 10% off your order. Let them know Big Chief sent you. Because just like your favorite pour, the Heritage Flag Company is made to be shared, honored, and remembered. Now let's get on to the show. Hey, it's old Big Chief from the Whiskey Trip, and yeah, you're taking another ride with me, baby. And what an episode I got for you today, folks. This is actually the second time we've recorded this episode. But with me, I got Patel Bourbon, and I've got Hemal Patel and Joe Godfrey with me. Gentlemen, welcome back to the Whiskey Trip for your second ride with me.
Yeah,
good to be here, Big Chief.
Now, I know Drew, he just gave up on my big ass and just said, I'm out, peace out. I don't want to talk to you no more because I gave him a hard time last time for being quiet on my show. But I do appreciate you guys sticking with me. Listeners, you know, sometimes everybody thinks it's easy to record a podcast episode or YouTube video, but sometimes there's technical difficulties. Sometimes things don't work out. And sometimes in life, that's even better because it gives you time to get things right. So, but gentlemen, we're here to talk about Patel Bourbon and not about all the technology issues we have. Now, Hemal, the Patel brand was built on luxury and travel. How did you guys come up with Patel Bourbon and the, you know, what's your brand logo? What's your brand identity?
Yes, sir. So our brand is built around Epicurean lifestyle. So really, we want to kind of introduce the bourbon that people can enjoy, savor, and really take time. You know, just the idea we had, hey, it's just around the fire, you know, just kind of sitting around conversing, talking about life stories or what have you. But it's we wanted to introduce something that was a premium brand.
I love it. I mean, that's what life's all about. You get to a certain age and you travel and you experience life and you get to experience good whiskey. I'm sure both of you in your lives have had to have some periods in your life where, man, I can only afford what's on that bottom shelf. And, you know, I'm grateful for it. But now at a certain age, you get to buy some better bottles, better whiskey, sometimes some of the best whiskey in the world. And that's what you guys are offering up, that experience. Whiskey to drink with the life that you're at right now. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
Yeah, 100%, Chief. It's kind of like that custom made feel to it. It's that tailor made. It's the way we present it in the full cast, uncut, unfinished version with our initial release, and it's supposed to feel special, right? Just like
it's like getting a cowboy hat. You know, when you're a kid and you just get what's off the shelf, you know, and they shape it for you, and that's what you get. But you get to a certain point in life where somebody will make you a custom hat and they shape it and form it to your big head like mine. And they used a model of a pumpkin for my head, but they finally made me one. And I'm at that point in my life where I get some custom. Now I'm sipping on this right here. This is your guys's weeded whiskey.
The wheat.
Yeah, 115 proof. And this is this is a little different mash bill. Joe, take me through the mash bill on this.
Yes. So if you're a weeder drinker out in the field of bourbon, this thing comes across like a shortcake. Honestly, it's 95 wheat, 5 malted barley. You know that cereal, Honey and Oats.
Mm-hmm.
When I drink this, I almost feel like I'm going back to that cereal, that pretty honey, the oat side of it. This is probably out of our 4 different expressions, the easiest out of the bottle. I've got one on my desk at 115 proof. I'm not sure what you got, Chief.
115 proof.
Okay. So to me, this is 8 years, 3 months, and it absolutely drinks well below 115. I think it's almost in that low 90 range. And usually when we're doing tastings, and I've got some drinkers that are new to bourbon, I'll start them off with this first and let them try that and kind of work their palate up to some of the higher proof bourbons we have. But this is just an amazing whiskey. It's just that honey, that orange, that pretty shortcake, and then you get into this a little bit of cinnamon on the back end of it. So it's just it's phenomenal. It really is. It's such a high wheat concentrate to it in the mash bill. It's just uniquely different, in my opinion.
Well, you hit it nail on the head with that orange spice. I get that, like that orange spice candy we all grew up with, kids that was in the crystal bowl, and your grandmother would slap your hand when you go in there to get another one.
Yeah.
But I get that orange or some orange marmalade on a nice buttered biscuit. Oh my goodness. That you get those honeycomb cereals too, and I get a little bit of that in this. I was a cereal kid, and
Yeah.
latchkey kid, as most of us in the 70s and 80s were. That's just the way we lived. But I love that brings back that memory. You're getting off of school and you run home, your mom and dad's not going to be there, and you sneak yourself a little bowl of that honeycomb cereal. And now I've grown up and I get to get home before my wife gets home, and I
Yep.
sneak myself a little whiskey.
Yeah. Well, all of what we're going to present today, they're minimum 8 years, and we even have some that are now in the 10-year range. So at minimum, you're going to have an 8-year bottle, and it's really designed to be a barrel pick without buying the barrel for the retailer. So they can buy a case or 6 to a case. You don't have to invest in an entire barrel. You can put a label on it as a barrel pick, because truly it is a barrel pick bottle. And we send samples out to different retailers, and they can certainly use it with their bourbon clubs, or if they want something uniquely different for their store that maybe they don't have some high wheats out there. It works really well that way too.
Now, Hemal, how did Patel Bourbon get its start? How did you guys hey, we're going to start us a little whiskey company?
Great question. So yeah, I've been involved with this small distillery, RM Rose, who's doing our bottling at this point, right now, and just having known those guys, it's something that I wanted to do. So Joe and I started talking about it, and so let's kind of come up with a brand that really kind of gives that that's built around the Epicurean lifestyle. Let's kind of introduce something that's one, affordable, that it's it's not breaking $100 bill, but something that's really people enjoy. So we kind of we started. It is all sourced whiskeys, right? So MGP is who we're sourcing it from right now. So we kind of reached out to them, and we got 26 some samples, right? Different samples, and kind of tried out different mash bills, different ages, and we felt that in the price range we were thinking, and the product, the quality of the product, and something that was different, we came up with these 4 mash bills. It is, we felt that 8 to 10 years was a perfect age in the price point. It gave something different. It gave that savoring aspect of it, and looking at the 4 mash bills, which are, we'll go through all of them, but wheat being the first one. Then we got 2 ryes, and we got a bourbon, 75 corn, 21 rye. And that's how we kind of came up with it, is to really kind of introduce that. And we call this our bespoke line, which is really somewhat done on purpose.
Now, so you guys had done a bunch of barrel picks before, together as a group of friends. How long had you guys been picking barrels before this whole conversation of making a brand yourselves?
So Chief, what we didn't want to do was to just randomly have them send us barrels. Let's say we find that we really like this 95 wheat. Okay, hey, send me a bunch of barrels. What we did, we reversed it. We said, listen, send me batches, send me samples from your different batches of this recipe, of this age, and they did. And then from there, we really dialed into which batch do we really like. What was that initial batch? And so we buy it by the batch in terms of the barrels. And when that batch runs out, we'll redo the whole process again for that same recipe. We'll ask for other samples from other batches in that same age, and then we'll hand pick which batch we like, and we'll just continue to do that, and over and over, and that way we know that it's consistently the best batch. The barrel does its magic, right? But we want to make sure that within that batch it meets what our palate really favors. And we think that will pass along well to the consumer.
A question for you, and I'm not saying there's everybody in whiskey is dishonest, right? But there is dishonesty in the world. There's greed, and do you guys test every barrel that comes in and test the alcohol proof it yourself to make sure that you're ensuring that that's the proof you're getting? I've wondered that if somebody would, let's say you bought 100 barrels from them, and you didn't take, and you were going to blend some stuff. I know you guys do all single barrels, but let's say they shipped you a 90 proofer when you were supposed to get 110 proof. Do you proof all your stuff first?
Absolutely. Not only we proof it and make sure that's the proof that goes in on the bottle. We also write it on our label. Also, we put it which date it was barreled in. We put our barrel numbers in there and exact age. Our whole philosophy is being transparent. We actually also put our mash bills that's in the bottle. So when customers buying something, they want to make sure what they're buying is they understand what they're buying, and then they can talk about it and then really compare it, because we're a single barrel. It's going to vary. Every different barrel is going to have different proof. So we've got our rye's gone from 120 something to 132, and there are bottles out there with different proofs. So yes, absolutely, each barrel gets tested, and not only that, we taste as well. If we don't like a barrel, we'll put it aside, we'll let it age, or we'll do something with it, blending or what have you. But yeah, it's definitely our single barrel every barrel gets tested and tasted.
I've been doing this for a while now. I'm over at 575 shows, something like that. I'm pretty close to 500 shows. And I've never asked that question of people that source their whiskey. Do you test it? And that's just that old Ronald Reagan saying, right? Trust but verify. He trusted the Russians that they were going to get rid of their nuclear stuff. But he said, hey, I'm going to come back over there and I'm going to verify that you're going to do it. And I don't think there's nothing wrong with that. Like I said, not everybody in the whiskey industry is honest, and there's a lot of greed out there. I've always talked about that. That's the one thing I hate in whiskey is greed. It just tears me up.
Our philosophy is that our philosophy is not based on the volume. It's really want to make sure that the products gets out there. We're not looking at getting millionaire overnight, right? It's all about making sure the product speaks for itself. If it takes a while to get it out there, it's fine, right? We're okay with it.
Well, now, do you guys do all your own bottling, or do you ship it out to contract that out to like a mass bottler that they have a set schedule and you have to get on that schedule and people might have to wait?
We have a strong relationship with RM Rose Company. and that's where we're co-located, right? So our barrel gets shipped over there. They bottle as sometimes as per needed basis. Sometimes we get the inventory in place, but strong relationship with them, and yeah, absolutely, and they verify, they test everything, and so yes, absolutely, we get to the Indiana ships it over to our Rose's facility in Mount Airy, Georgia.
The funny thing is, and I didn't tell you guys this last time, but I was stationed in Cincinnati, Ohio, while on the Coast Guard. And we were right up the road, right up the Ohio River at a place called Delhi Heights or Delhi Ferry. Anderson Ferry is what that ferry is called right there in Cincinnati. If you wanted the fastest way to Ohio from the Cincinnati airport, which is over in Kentucky, is to take Anderson Ferry, and you take it over across the Delhi. But right down the road, you travel 15, 20 more minutes and you're in Indiana. And that's where Lawrenceburg, Kentucky is. That's where the MGP is.
Yeah.
There's some other bad stuff there. And that's why I was stationed there, was for that bad stuff. But it was nice to drive to work in the morning, and the winds are blowing out of the west, and it's blowing that mash over to right where we're stationed at. So I got to smell whiskey for 4 straight years there. Just smell that whiskey cooking every day. Could you imagine that, going to work every day and smelling that? It's a horrible place to work.
It is.
I'm sure.
It is such a historic distillery, and when you drive up to it, it's got the tall brick columns for the grain, and it's got the old buildings, and then the houses around it all have the black mold, which is basically that good old evaporation of that whiskey, floating out there in the air, and it's attaching to the houses. And even our distillery up in Mount Airy, we've got a lot of that pretty black mold on it. So you've got once you come into that ring of bourbon, it's just an amazing sight to see. And earlier you mentioned about transparency, and my philosophy is simply this: I want you to know what you're drinking. I trust the source that I'm receiving it from 100%. And then we do quality control when it comes in. And then from that point, we want you to know everything about it. I think the more you know about it, the more you can appreciate, all right, whether you like the 95.5, maybe you like, a 75-21-4, just the different recipes. And, distillers, master distillers, they have their own little secrets. They use certain types of yeast that they've used for years and years. It's only proprietary to them. They cook at different temperatures. They cook at different time lengths. There's so many different things, and even the column still they're using. It's the way that's designed and made up, and of course the wood. The wood is to me a whole nother avenue that I think Hemal and I will start to do something differently down the way, where we can buy staves and we can age them in a particular way for a particular amount of time, so that we can custom build our own barrels down the way. And we'll do barrels that are 5 gallon, 15, 30, 53. And so we've got things planned ahead that we really want to do differently, and kind of get into, even though Arm Rose isn't making the product, we can still get very creative, even with the barrel, with that wood, and then with refinishing and blending. And so we want it to feel like a very craft product when the portfolio continues to mature.
I love that you got to think outside the box these days with whiskey, and the market is so flooded, right? That there's just so many brands for consumers to pick from. When all 3 of us were young men, you'd go into a whiskey store and you would see a whole bunch of Canadian stuff. You'd see a whole bunch of Scotch, a whole bunch of Irish whiskey, and you might have 10 to 15 different expressions of bourbon or American whiskey out there. Not a whole lot. But today, man, the market is booming with whiskey. There's just so much out there for the consumer to choose from. And I gotta give you guys a compliment on your label here. When old Big Chief opens up a box and he sees that international orange right there, that Coast Guard orange, oh man, that is sexy
Yeah.
right there. I
Yeah.
wore that color for so many years. I drove boats that are this color, and I was thinking, man, did they do this just for me?
Yeah,
I
we did.
really loved it.
No,
Now,
thank you and appreciate the comments on that. It's definitely, our marketing branding person, Taylor Garland, she's all over it.
now
And,
I
and then
would
our
ask
label.
you. Go ahead.
Now, I was just going to say our label is intentional in every way, right? And it is as simple as the writing on there. We spent 3 days going back and forth what color pen to use, right? And how to use it. Where do you write it on the label? Do you write at the bottom of the label, L, or the top of the L, middle of the L? So very, very, intentional in every way.
Well, I was going to ask that, is that from your heritage, the way that the font is to me, and I don't know. I didn't really ask where your family's from, but
We're from India.
so to me, that was what I thought. I was like, well, that could be possible, like Indian text or a
No,
font.
no, that was all Taylor coming up with what worked the best on the label, and
Really,
it's all her. Yes, yes, she came up with the font and everything.
a very, very beautiful. And then just the design, and you have so much information on here, and you filled up the back. It's just I can't say enough about how much information is on your guys' bottle. And, being transparent in the whiskey community hasn't always been the best thing for people. But us newer whiskey drinkers out there, we want all that information, because if you don't give it to us, you can bet that we're going to get on the old interweb and we're going to dig it up. And with AI today, we can find out anything, right? Somebody out
Exactly.
there's been a truth teller on you.
Well, Chief, if you try to get real cute and try to mislead the consumer, the truth will come out, and then now you're going to have a lot of disbelief in your brand, in your product, and the way, again, Hamill and I approached this was, let people know, let them know. And MGP, honestly, is just an absolutely amazing distillery. The product they do for other brands, for other companies. I mean, they honestly, to me, they're just a stellar distiller. They do a top quality job, and then when we can bring it into Georgia, let it age in the good old South, get some of that Georgia heat, some of that Georgia hug to it, and then we can give it more time in the barrel. And with some of the other brands that Hamill and I are going to be releasing out of the Epicurean, we can really make another mark into what we're trying to achieve with the uniqueness behind it. But it's just hats off to a great distiller that we've got a wonderful relationship. Doesn't mean we haven't talked about going to like Green River and some other distilleries out there where we can buy from. We're discussing that internally, but right now we're sold on what we have initially out the gate.
I love it.
Yeah.
The next pour I'm gonna pour, I drank 2 glasses of that wheat, by the way. It was that good. And as listeners, you see, this, I make this glass look small, but this is actually a rocks glass I like to drink out of. It fits my hand perfectly. It's a Spey rocks glass. But I would say there was a good 3 ounces each time in there. Absolutely delicious. Now, this next one is a Kentucky Style Rye, 51% rye, 45% corn, and 4% malted barley at 115 proof. 9 years, 3 months old. A very, very beautiful whiskey. I've done drank half of my sample bottle. That's a Now, when I say Kentucky Style Rye, listeners, I mean that it is closer to a bourbon mash bill than it would be to a traditional rye. Was there a reason you guys went with something like that?
I honestly, so I love a high corn. bourbon. And so when we got deeper into some of their recipes, and they have the 51%, I'm like, wait a second, maybe I've missed something out there. And when we received samples on this, Big Chief, it blew me away. I'm like, okay, so this is a really unique hybrid between almost a bourbon and a whiskey, yet it's whiskey forward with rye. And on the nose on this thing, I got like this beautiful black tea right out the gate. I'm like, wow, okay, that's different. And then it had a little bit of some floral on it with even some of that pretty vanilla that you get off of a lot of corn. You get some of that vanilla, that caramel, that butterscotch. And then when I got into the actual flavor of it, then I found like there was honey. So to me, it had a lot of different layers. It was, I think, a recipe that a lot of distillers are not focused on. And I think that you could take people that are true bourbon drinkers and that may not be rye drinkers and say all of a sudden say, hey, you know what? This is a good step into rye. It has a nice balance to it. So I'm interested to see what your thoughts on it at 115. And I think we all have the same bottle. This is 9 year, 3 months.
That's what I got.
Yeah.
Well, down here in Texas, us Texans, when I was growing up, my grandmother would take one of those gallon pickle jars, and she would wash that sucker out after we ate all the pickles out of it. And then she would put some Lipton tea bags up in that and stick that joker out in the sun, and we would have sun tea. Now,
Wow.
down here in Texas, and the rest of the South, they'll pour a whole bag of sugar in there when they say it's sweet tea, and that's what I get is some of that. You said tea. And it reminded me of that sweet tea, that you'd walk in any quintessential restaurant here in the state of Texas and say, hey, I need a sweet tea and some chicken fried steak. There's not any question about what kind of gravy comes with a chicken fried steak. You get white gravy. You don't get no other colored gravy. Get green beans. And that's what you get. It's there was a Hell or High Water movie Taylor Sheridan made. There's a woman in there in a cafe, and she said, what kind of steak do you want? She's like, we got ribeye steak or T-bone steaks and a baked potato. You don't want no green beans, and you don't want no baked potato. And, she said, so what don't you want?
Right. Exactly.
But that sweet tea I get on this, that's something very, very beautiful. I remember my mom making that sweet tea, sun tea. But I get a little bit of that honey on there. I'm a big
Mm-hmm.
tea drinker in the wintertime. A little bit of orange still on this one too.
Yep. I can find that.
That could be a carryover from that last whiskey I was sipping on. I drank so much of it, but still, I think I like to drink orange spice tea in the wintertime and put a little honey in there. Maybe a little dab of whiskey. Folks, don't tell Miss Viv. She'll whoop me. But it is a very, very beautiful whiskey. And I love that you guys are going with these proofs. To me, these are drinking a little bit not as hot as it would say on the label. And I like that, and I always say, Miss Viv, she says, hey, I don't like high proof whiskeys, but she'll grab one of my glasses. She's like, hey, what's in that? And I'm like, it's whiskey. And I tell her the proof, and she's like, there's no way that's that proof. It's like 90 proof. And I'm like, no, seriously, it's like 120. And I think a lot of women out there would be shocked if you'll grab yourself a cask strength whiskey and just sip on it right. Take a whiskey glass like mine. Hell, go to my website and buy one. I'll ship it to you. But take a great whiskey glass, a Glencairn, whatever you're going to drink it out of, and sip on it right. Let it sit on your tongue, go down the sides of your palates, on your cheeks, chew on it for a little bit, that old Kentucky chew, and then swallow it back nice and easy. That whiskey will open up for you. It won't bite you like you think it will. Now, if you suck that joker back, it's going to burn your throat. It's going to burn your esophagus. And that's just not the way to sip on whiskey.
Yeah.
It's supposed
It's
to
meant
be.
it's meant to be savored, right? Absolutely. Yeah, to just enjoy it. And that's the whole idea behind our brand, is to really kind of enjoy and really savor every sip that you can take. So,
Now,
and
Hamel,
what we love, go
go
ahead,
ahead.
sir. No, I said of all the four of it, this blend, I call it blend because of rye and corn being about the same. It's really, we get a lot of compliments on it because it's something not out there. You won't find 51 rye, 45 corn out in the market that much.
I wish I'd have got a full bottle of this. Really, this is it. It reminds me of going to the fair and grabbing some of that kettle corn you see in a big kettle, and they throw all that popcorn in there and they're swishing around, and they put sugar in there, swishing around, and you kind of get this, not a popcorn, but you get a kettle corn out of it with that caramelish deliciousness that you get, and you can smell that sugars that's caramelizing. What a great whiskey this is. Now, on the back of your bottle, I noticed that you guys give back to charity a lot, and something that's near and dear to my heart. I'm a cancer survivor myself, and I know you guys give a lot back to families that have, they're either helping a family member fight cancer or they're going through it themselves, and you guys give back to that. What's that? What is that, and how do you guys go about it?
Yes, sir. So that is a David Downie Foundation that a friend of mine, Kenton Wallace, and I co-founded, and it's after my friend and my dad going through cancer, and as we were, going taking care of both of them, one of the things we kind of experienced is there was a lot of support structure. There was always friends willing to come in, take them to the therapies or doctors or what have you, any kind of appointments you had. I was taking care of my dad. Really, there's a lot of support structure. Not everyone's fortunate to have that. Not only that, not everyone's also financially capable of doing, being able to just take time off any time and go there. I've had a couple of instances that I kind of ran into, and that's kind of caused, hey, this is our cause. There's a young lady, I was taking my dad every day, and I'd see had missed a couple of appointments, so I just had to talk to her and say, Miss, I haven't seen you in a while, and she kind of explained, well, I'm a single mom, I needed daycare, and I wasn't able to find somebody, and I had to take some time off, and I just couldn't afford it, so I had to kind of change my schedule around, and that touched me. That kind of, it's like, okay, and so I called my friend and said, I think we found the cause. What we want to do is work with the caregivers, be it a hospital, hospice care, whatever it is, right? Because it's not the individual that goes through it, it's the family goes through it. And let's work with them and let them identify the resources that need financial help or support, and we write check to them. And then they go and identify people that need additional help, additional support. So we provide as simple as a transportation to the hospital, be it an Uber card or what have you, or a meal, or cleaning, house cleaning, or daycare, whatever it is. And that's what we kind of focus on, is the 20% things that no one focuses on. Right? You got the insurance to take care of the hospital bills, but there's not anything out there. And we're partnered with the Emory Hospital, Emory Winship Center out of Atlanta, and they've been great support. They really appreciate what we're doing, and it'll be about a year our relationship and into our relationship that we've been helping them.
I love it. Go ahead, Joe.
To that, Hemal puts on a golf tournament once a year to help raise funds for it. And Hemal, I'll let you speak a little bit about that. But it's a fun event, raise a lot of money, and just a nice way to give back. Just besides the bottle, the proceeds off the bottle sales, but also what we're doing else as another layer to add to the pot.
And that's what you're referring to is Georgia State Wireless. That's a totally different one, but it's similar. It's also called David Downie Memorial because the gentleman that passed away, that my friend, he was one of the originals that kind of created that state wireless, and that purpose is really focusing on MS Society, working with Children's Hospital and providing that back, giving back to them. So and we have wireless folks that are very supportive of that tournament, and we raise quite a bit of money to give back.
I love it. Good cause, fun time, making money to help families out. I don't think it gets much better with that. And you pair it with a little whiskey. I always love being on a golf cart and pulling up to the ninth hole, and there's some whiskey there for me to drink. That's hard to beat.
I appreciate Big Chief you bringing that up because it means a lot to us. Percent of profit goes to the Foundation. But also, if any listener wants to donate, just go to our website, and really, we'll take as little as $5, $20, whatever it is, whatever you can give, we'll take it. And know that we do not write any checks to any individuals. It goes directly to the hospitals or caregivers that take care of the family, and they're the one who identify. So it's very simple, very transparent.
Well, listeners, if you look at the bottom of the screen, you'll see that website popped up there. Make sure you go to that website if you want to donate. I know those families would really appreciate it, to get some support. Hotel stays are not cheap. Transportation is not cheap. Food's not cheap out there. So please go and donate. It's down at the bottom of the page here, or bottom of the screen. I'd really appreciate it. Now, we're up against the first half, guys. But before I do go to the break, I want to tell you about another event that is actually coming up. Now, this episode is coming out on Tuesday. You're listening to it right now. You still have time to go to this event on Saturday night in Houston, Texas. Now, the site that you're going to go to, I'm going to pop it up on the side right here for you so you can see it. But this is America 250 at Giant Texas Tasting Room in Houston, Texas. Look up Giant Texas Tasting Room or Giant Texas Distillery. This is America 250, put on by Blue Bolt Spirits, and this is supporting the Whiskey Valor Foundation. Now, tickets to this are $75. That's going to get you 2 American 250 old fashions crafted by Blue Bolt Spirits. That's going to get you a $25 Uber voucher to take you back to your hotel. And there's also going to be a demonstration of indoor weapon simulator there. You can get in and play around with it. And it supports this great cause, which is Whiskey Valor Foundation. And they're trying to promote responsible drinking and eradicate drinking and driving in the military community. I'd really appreciate it if you go to this website. If you can't go, there's the website. You can donate to it. And then if you want to buy an entire table to this, you could do that at this website. I would really appreciate if you support it. My fellow veterans out there, I'm a military member serving. I know you wouldn't think that is a big issue in the military, but it is. Drinking and driving, soldiers, airmen, sailors, they're climbing into their cars and getting themselves into trouble. Could we stop some deaths by doing this? We could. So, it provides Uber rides. I've actually used one of these Uber rides before in New Orleans, Louisiana, at the New Orleans Bourbon Festival to get back to my hotel. So please go to this website, check it out. There's still tickets available. Saturday night, me and old Miss Viv will be there, and I will tell you something else about Blue Bolt Spirits. One of their co-founders, one of their owners, is an active duty Marine, Will Malley. I want you to check him out. He's a great American. And what better way to celebrate America's 250 years than go support a great cause to give back to the military community for those guys and gals that have laid it on the line for us. You stick with us and we'll be right back. The Whiskey Trip is proudly sponsored by Guardian Coins, a veteran, family-owned and operated company that understand what it truly means to honor service, story, and tradition. Guardian Coins just doesn't make the challenge coins. They craft symbols of pride, legacy, and camaraderie. From military units and first responders to distilleries, brands, and special events, every coin is designed with purpose and built to last. Here at the Whiskey Trip, our official Whiskey Trip Challenge coin was brought to life by Guardian Coins, and it represents exactly what this ride is all about. Craftsmanship, community, and sharing a great pour with amazing people. From custom artwork to flawless finishes, Guardian Coins works with you one-on-one to turn your vision into something tangible, something you can hold, collect, and pass down. So if you're looking to create a coin that tells your story, whether it's from your unit, your brand, or your next big milestone, trust the folks who know how much that story matters. Visit Guardian Coins on Facebook and tell them Big Chief from the Whiskey Trip sent you. Now pour something good and let's get back to the ride. All right, listeners, this is old Big Chief, and yeah, we're back for the second half with Patel Bourbon. I've got Hemal Patel and Joe Godfrey on here with me, the two jokers from Georgia, and they're letting me just drink down all their damn whiskey, which is not a bad thing. That's not a bad problem to have in my life. I get great whiskey put in my hand to tell these stories, and I really do love life. Before we get started, listeners, let me tell you about a new Facebook group out there, Taking the Whiskey Ride. I want you to go to this Facebook group, and I want you to join it. You got to ask a couple of questions in there, and that just makes sure that you're not going to harass people in there, be mean or be a bully or anything. All Facebook groups do it. But I want you to come in there and join Taking the Whiskey Ride and be part of the conversation, be part of the story with me. Take this ride with me. But maybe we can get these jokers right here. Maybe we can get Patel Bourbon to come in there and tell their story and be part of the story. We've got distillers in there. We've got brand reps in there. We have other content creators in there writing whiskey reviews. So whether you're a brand, you're a distiller, come in there, join Taking the Whiskey Ride. I guarantee you'll have a great time. I would really appreciate it as always. Now, guys, I got another pour of whiskey in my glass. I'm pretty excited about this. This is the first bourbon of the night. This is 75% corn, 21% rye, and 4% malted barley, 116 proof, 8 years, 11 months. Beautiful whiskey. Is this out of MGP as well?
Yes, sir. Yep. This is Chief. Wait till you try this one. This is just
what are you talking about? I did try that. I've tried the hell out of a few of
them.
I mean, I've had some good whiskey this week. Gentlemen, I've had a whiskey week right now. I feel like just sometimes everything is clicking and everything is right in the world. I show up today. There's another bottle of whiskey at my house I did not expect. Shout out to Milam and Green in Blanco, Texas. Sent me a little care package. I'm ever grateful whenever I get packages. It's just a surprise to me. But ever grateful. They want me to try a whiskey for them, and I'll dang sure crack it open and try it. It's not going to sit on my shelf and waste away. But this right here is one of your guys' bourbons. Tell me all about this barrel right here.
So it's interesting. We're all literally having the same bottle, which is nice because sometimes when we do these, we have just different cask proof bottles, and you never know. But this all kind of aligned right. So this is 75% corn, 21% rye, 4% malted barley, 8 year, 11 month, 116.4 on the proof. This is one of my go-to bourbons. It's a true bourbon by the recipe, but I'm telling you, it's got that dark oak, the clove to it. It has some of that butterscotch on the nose, but when you start to really enjoy this, man, you get that French vanilla, you get some of the apricot, some of those stone fruits, and then a little bit of that caramel comes behind it. And I'm telling you, it is just delightful. It's just easy. What's interesting, when we were having the 51% rye, 45% corn, the juice was just hanging on the glass. It was just sitting there, pulling it down. This is a little different. It still has some of that nice leg action to it, but it's not as thick. So this, to me, it has a little shorter finish to it, but there's so much flavor up front that you really can consume quite a bit at the end of the day, because it's just one of those. All right, repour, and again, you don't have to pour a lot, just enough to wet the whistle. But you'll find that it'll continue and continue and continue, and it's just a great bourbon again.
I get a little bit. I would swear this is out of Bardstown, Kentucky. I get a little payday candy bar on this, that the peanuts in there and stuff. And every time I drink something from Bardstown, I get that nuttiness from this. Whether it's, even though Jim Beam's just right out of Bardstown, but Heaven Hill, Jim Beam, Willet, I just get this nutty taste out of those whiskeys, and they're awful tasty. But I don't know what that it's not caramel. It's like this, I don't know what kind of candy it is, but it's some kind of like salt taffy that's on a payday candy bar. It is just deliciousness. But I get that in this whiskey right here. And that's a great thing whenever you can think of something that tastes like something else. It brings back that sensory memory, like we were talking about in that first half, whether it be a tea or those spiced orange candies that was on your grandma's table. I get that payday candy bar in this. That's that quintessential candy bar we ate as kids. When we were lucky, me and my brother always would have to split one. My sisters would get their own candy bars, and I was so greedy. And my nickname for my little brother is Little Feather, but he can't be Big Chief. But
Chief, you mentioned the nuttiness, and honestly, sometimes it takes some other people's notes on the aroma and the flavor. And it's interesting. Sometimes the aroma never carries over to the flavor, but saying that nuttiness when I do do nose it, I get that peanut, that there is that kind of like that payday peanut butter nose to it.
Yeah.
So I mean that's spot on. I mean I appreciate that note. I'll have to write that one down.
I was going to tell you that my mom would give us that candy bar to share. She would always hand it to me. So I look at my little brother, old Little Feather, and I'd smile at him, and then I would lick that whole candy bar. And I'm like, "You want your half?"
None for you.
He doesn't like that memory too much. He doesn't laugh about it anymore. And now that we're in our 50s, he doesn't. He's like, "You son of a bitch." He's like, "You were mean to me." But I love that brought back that memory right there for me. Even though we had rough times and stuff, there's still great joy to look back on the good times. And folks, that's just a lesson in life for you. Look back at those good times, those good memories. While you more than likely had bad memories, look back at those good ones and enjoy life a little bit. And that's what your whiskey's all about, right? Is travel. Do you guys travel a lot together?
We've done a couple of trips. We've been planning on Kentucky, right? And just haven't got there yet.
Yeah.
But that's on the list. But yes, we do a lot of tasting, go different places and stuff. Yeah.
I want to go to India with Hemal. I want him to show
fun.
the whole landscape and where he grew up and the food and the culture. I'm anxious for he and I to embark on a journey like that. Just to go for me somewhere way, way far away, totally different, and just experience that. But personally, he and I, we're so busy lately, we haven't had a chance to really, focus in and go into different distilleries. And that's something we want to do. We want to, go out and see what other folks are doing because it's fun,
Well, here's a question for you, Hemal. Have you taken a bottle of this back to India and letting the folks there taste on it?
Yes, sir. So I was at a wedding, my nephew's wedding last year around Christmas time, and I took 4 bottles, and I had the people try it out, all 4 different flavors, and it went real well. I mean, and typically in India, folks are more Scotch drinkers, so I didn't expect the welcoming that I got, and they really, really loved it. And I was very surprised to see a lot of people were very familiar with the rye whiskey, and they were very excited to see rye. And then both our ryes went pretty quickly. All 4 bottles were done in almost 2 nights. There's about 8-10 people.
No surprise, folks that don't know out there, the country that consumes the most whiskey on the face of the earth right now is India. They actually have some very, very beautiful expressions of whiskey. I'll grab one. Even though we're talking about your guys' whiskey, I want to grab this for you.
No, please.
Yeah.
Now, I was in a liquor store the other day, and it's rare for something to catch my eye in a liquor store. But I seen something, and I was like, ooh, what is that? Because I am a student of the game. I am a student of whiskey. I love all whiskeys across the face of the earth. And this is what I picked up. lately right here. If you haven't seen this, folks, on the shelf, this was $50. That's a slam for this right here. Go out there, find it, and make sure you try to find it. I'm telling you, you will not be disappointed. If you like single malts, this right here will blow your mind. I was excited to see it. And that'll just show you that I am a whiskey lover from all nations. I got some from Germany in the house. I got some from Japan, obviously. I've got some Mexican whiskey. I've been talking about trying to find some. There's a wasp called the Mexican honey wasp in Mexico, and they make a nectar, and I've been trying to find some of that to age some whiskey in. So we'll see what old Big Chief pulls out next. But yeah, I'm always fascinated what other countries are doing, especially India. And I know there's some giant distilleries there that are popping up, and their bottles like that are gaining respect from whiskey drinkers out there like myself. And that's what's beautiful about your guys' whiskey, that you are showcasing something for everyone in your expressions. Is there any plan for you guys to have a single malt or an American single malt?
Yes, we actually had one out during the Indian holidays called Rangoli. And that was, I believe, 7 years aged, 90 proof, and that went real well. And we're actually double oaking one. Right? Joe can talk more about it, but yes, we're in the process. I love single malt, so does Joe, and so we're always looking at double oaking it and then trying to do something different with it.
Yeah, the Rangoli was phenomenal. It just drank so easy, and it was American single malt, 100% malted barley, and we have barrels in the rick house right now, continuing to age. And yesterday, Hemal and I were talking about maybe doing something with maybe a Marlot barrel or some sort of wine barrel to refinish some of the American single malt with. I think that would be something unique and something different to do. But I'm telling you, it is phenomenal. The American single malt. It just I want to try to find the right pitch for it in terms of refinishing, and whether Hemal mentioned it's double oaking, and or refinishing in a old wine cask, maybe something from Portugal or Spain or Napa Valley. We do have some great wineries here in Georgia, and a lot of unique product coming out of Northeast Georgia. So I'm talking to a couple of our winery friends out here and seeing if I can borrow one of their barrels and then age it with some of our single malt, give them the barrel back, let them age some of their wine in it, so they can kind of play off of our collaboration and just unique things that can help each of us out here in Georgia, at least Northeast Georgia.
I always am fascinated by what the human mind can think up, right? And a lot of people are finishing with different woods and different oaks out there. I'm looking over here and I see some sherry cask finishes that were sent to me not too long ago from my good friend Samantha from Garrison Brothers as a little gift, little thank you. That's a great thank you to have, Samantha, and I love you for it. But just an idea from old Big Chief, and Joe's going to be like, God dang it, Chief, you damn with these ideas things. But Hemal, I would want to know, is there a predominant oak in India, and could you take that and try to do a finish with that? And it would just make sense for the name of your brand and for your company, I think. If I haven't seen anybody do that, or maybe a different kind of wood from India, that you've got Brazilian Amburana that has that cinnamon spice to it. You've got French oak, right, that people take grooves in and stuff. But I haven't seen anybody out there to date. Now, you better write this down and get it fast, because soon somebody sees this podcast, they're going to be like, that's
right
good
there,
idea.
Chief.
There you go.
But I wonder,
No, Big Chief, that's a great question and something that we've thought about it obviously. But I can't think of the one that I had in mind that we want to do something with it, but I don't know how the taste wise. It's the sandalwood. We use sandalwood quite a bit.
Yeah, hey, I got sandalwood in my beard right now.
So the fragrance in it's so amazing, right? And then just really kind of looking at that and then thinking about something. So it's definitely the thoughts are there. Figuring out we are, speaking of India, but we are currently finishing our wheat whiskey in
Secure.
Japanese sakura, Japanese cherry wood, right? And then that's something that Drew was out just not too long ago in Japan, and something that he kind of saw that there, and he was very excited about it. So yeah, so we're looking at that. Mezzanara is another wood that we're aging another whiskey in. So definitely that is one of our other line of business, what we call curator's cabinet, which is the collector's item. It's a very single barrel, finished a different level, but again, cask strength, very focused on certain level, certain expectations, and really, it's right in line with what you're asking.
I just think that nobody else has done that. I've heard of every one of those other finishes. I'm always looking for something that is different, and out of the realm. Everybody always asks me, "What's your favorite whiskey, Chief?" Or "What are you looking for?" And I'm like, I'm looking for a whiskey that just blows my palate away and something new. What's around the corner? What's going to be on the next show? This year, I look up at my shelf behind me up there, and I think there's 7 bottles up there, and one American single malt up there that just is like, it's a rock and roller. And it was finished with smoked mesquite.
Oh, wow.
And it is just so much different. It's a Texas whiskey, but it's an American single malt smoked with a mesquite, and I know some people have did mesquite with finishes with bourbon, and I've seen some ryes done with it lately, but an American single malt now, that's something a little different, smoked with mesquite, and I found it absolutely beautiful. It's cask strength, so for a big man like me that likes to drink whiskey, it's something beautiful. Now, I poured my last pour right here, and this is your 95.5 rye, 121 proof, 9 years old, 2 months. And I am looking forward to this right here. What a whiskey.
Yeah, I'm telling you, this is all right. So a lot of times when I'm out and I'm presenting this product, this one recipe, I normally get, I hate rye. I'm like, okay, you may hate other rye, but you haven't tried our rye. And this 95.5 does not drink with all of that rye spice, all that allspice, all that, that hit of that pepper. And this is, to me, it's very sweet. It has almost like a maple syrup finish to it. The nose is a little bit with like some cherry on it. I think you pick up some citrus and honey, which is kind of unusual for, again, a 95.5. But the flavor on this thing is it's dreamy. It just, again, you can tell me your thoughts on it, Big Chief, but I honestly pick up maple in it, which is odd at the best. But it's consistently this layer of, it's not rye, even though it's 95% rye. I don't know if it's the age of it. Don't specifically, I think part of it is that barrel. I try to get deep into what the barrel itself. Sometimes there's good labeling on the barrel, so I can understand where the cooperage, where it came from. Sometimes it's just mysterious. And this is one of those mysterious barrels that I can't pinpoint, the wood specifically. I wish I could, but it is absolutely a rye that I think a lot of people could enjoy that normally push away. And
I get a little bit of ginger on this right here. And,
Do you?
when I was in the Army, I really didn't know how to drink whiskey, right? I was drinking some bad stuff, 10 High and military special. But
Yeah.
then you go to a bar and I see all my other buddies like, oh, we're going to have Jack and Coke. I look at an older guy over there and he's drinking a pint glass full of, and I'm like, hey, what are you drinking there, guy? And he's like, well, this is a tall boy right here. This is a 7 and 7 Canadian rye whiskey with ginger ale. And I was like, oh, I ordered myself one of those right there. And I found out that I really loved it. Give me a little bit extra splash of whiskey because I'm not the normal size fellow. Put that ginger ale in there, and man, and then I looked different than everybody else at the bar, right? Because everybody else is drinking mudslides and White Russians and Jack and Coke. That was just the '90s for you right there. But there I am drinking a 7 and 7, looking like I'm on Mad Men, like I'm a marketing genius for all these women out there, just having a good time.
You're looking sexy.
Hell yeah. At least I thought I did. But what a beautiful whiskey to get that ginger out of there. I'll get a little bit of anise on there, a little bit of clove. I like that spice on there. It isn't, like you said, it's not your typical rye. I don't get a little bit of that anise and folks, when I say that, that's that black licorice you get. I get just a tiny hint of it, but more ginger than I get anything. So another beautiful expression from you guys. I can see your prowess whenever you are picking barrels and saying, "Oh, this one's good. Oh, not that one's not good. Let's tend to go this way right here." I notice all of your whiskeys are on a sweeter note. So you guys all, I know you probably like some ice cream or something, or a ho-ho or something. I don't know. You got sweet palates.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that. That is so true. I mean, there is a lot of sweetness in each four expression, differently placed. But to your point, yeah, and it's interesting. Ginger, weird, and I don't know if it's just when you hear somebody say, "Hey, I taste this," and automatically you say, "I agree." Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't, right? But I've never tasted ginger in this. But today, with you pointing that out, I do get that. I mean, normally I get more of that sweeter, syrupy maple finish, that honey finish, that just that creamier side of it. But that's interesting. That's a note I wrote down. I do get the anise, I do get the clove on it, spot on there. But I did not pick up ginger until you mentioned it, brother. Good.
So when most people are tasting whiskey, listeners out there, a lot of folks, and I've been around a block a time or two. I've drank a little bit of whiskey in my life, especially with a podcast, right? You do 500 shows, you go to enough whiskey festivals, you go to shows, you can do all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
You get bottle shares, and you get to taste a lot of different things in the life I live doing this. But the thing I hate the most is when somebody brings out a tasting wheel and starts reading off of that. Oh, I get this, or they're pointing at it. Don't do that. That tasting wheel was created by one man at Woodford Reserve, Chris Morris, to sell Woodford Reserve. And that's off his palate. I don't know how many billions of people are on the face of the earth right now. If I told you, I would be wrong. Something in like 3 to 5 billion people, maybe. I might be wrong. But every one of those people on the face of the earth, every human has a different palate, and we're all going to taste something different. And whenever you're doing a barrel pick, the way I like to do barrel picks is I like to go last. I don't want people to know what I taste,
Right.
because I don't want to influence someone else on the barrel pick that might be, this might be their second or third barrel pick. And, I'm the one that's going to move the whiskey, so they'll go with me. I don't want that. I want to hear their opinion and see what they're tasting and be like, oh, maybe I do get something like that. I'll retaste it. And that might open up that sensory memory for me. So don't go off a tasting wheel, listeners. Go off your own palate. think back in your memory of what your grandmother, your mother, your father, what they cooked, what they used in the kitchen, what spices they used, maybe a hot sauce that you like. You know, my wife's got a sweet chili sauce in our kitchen, and I've tasted that in a whiskey before, and
Wow.
it was a good taste to me. So think back. How do you guys go about your picking barrels and stuff and making sure that you get the right balance?
Well, so I love what you're saying, Chief, because when we do, we bring, folks in to do a barrel pick. Um, I generally don't want to express my opinion quite yet. I want, and a lot of times people are, hey, let's just write the notes down, and after we'll share our thoughts and what we pick up on the nose and the taste and the palate and the finish. And a lot of times what I'll do is I won't tell you the proof. I don't want you to know the proof. I want you to tell me what you think the proof is. And it's interesting to see where people come in, because like these for this podcast, they all to me drink a lot lower than what's on the label. Now, maybe because I'm used to having high proof, bourbon, and I know when I taste a bad bourbon. I just know instantly, like, oh my gosh, that's just not for me, right? Could be for somebody else, but I know when I'm trying something, okay, that's just there's something just off putting, and so I try to keep my opinion to myself during that tasting, and then let people tell me what they think. Now, you know, not everybody's going to agree. That's cool. I love it. Like you said, everybody's palate's different. But generally, I think in what we've experienced in a lot of events that we've done with this brand, it's all been a resounding, holy cow, which one do I want to take home? I mean, which one do I really, gravitate to? And it's kind of nice to say, well, hey, why don't you take all four? You're not going to go wrong. I mean, you're going to find somebody, a guest or a friend or a colleague that's you're at your house and you're entertaining. And like, hey, have you ever tried a 95 wheat? And I'm like, hell no, I've never tried that. Okay, well, try this. Or if you got somebody that's on the fence with rye, try it. Don't tell them it's a 95 rye. Just let them try it. And then they may say, hey, that's great. And there are some people out there that are very sensitive to rye, and I get it, and they'll push back. But then you have other people like, wow, I was not expecting that. So it's fun. I love doing blinds too. That's another thing. That's a whole nother episode. But blinds are a lot of fun, where they don't know anything about it.
They are. They're the great equalizer. When they say, "Hey, I'm a whiskey expert," and I'm like, "Really? I got a little game I want to play with you. Take you out back, and we're gonna play a little game I like to call blind, and we'll drink some whiskey, and we'll see what you know, because when you're drinking something blind, it'll totally shock you, and you think, man, this is the best bourbon on the face of the earth, and then you drink it blind against something else, and something else that you just didn't believe in because you didn't believe in the name, you didn't believe in the age, the proof. It'll blow your palate out. But before we get to the end of this, I want to play a little game with you guys, and this is called my quick fire right here. We're gonna do a quick fire with you guys, and I want to see what you guys got to say to me.
Right.
Now, my first question for you would be, what's the first whiskey that made you fall in love with bourbon?
Ooh. Hemal.
Wow. I can tell you what the first whiskey I tasted, drank, and I really enjoyed it, which was Wild Turkey with Sundrop. I'm from Carolina. Sundrop was a big drink, so I'd mix it up. Man, that's a tough question. I'll pass it. I'll let Joe answer.
So before I got in this industry, I did corporate healthcare. Boom, kill yourself. But I did corporate healthcare with my brother Kevin. It was crazy. But when I started with Andy, I started opening some of his barrels, and it was an 88 corn, 8 wheat, 4 malted barley. It was insane. I mean, it was, it was just, it was so different and so unique. And then I went to Kentucky, for about a week, and I really got to try a lot of different brands up there. And Wild Turkey is phenomenal.
All right. What's the most expensive whiskey you ever opened and shared?
Right. So I don't have a lot of expensive whiskeys in my collection. I think probably the most expensive, I do have Tears of La Rona, which is a tequila, but they age it in multiple barrels. And I mean, it's $250 a bottle. It's phenomenal. I mean, if you're ever looking for one hell of a tequila, Tears of La Rona, hands down. And I shared that with some folks, and they were just blown away. So, kind of an expensive bottle, but not necessarily a whiskey, aged in different barrels.
Hemal?
I'd probably say McKellen 25. That's probably the one that I had.
Awesome. I'll give you guys an answer to that. 2 bottles for me. A Macallan 50-year-old that I was gifted. I cracked it open and shared it. And then somebody dropped it and busted it. Shame on you. And then I cracked open a King of Kentucky at a bottle share and let everybody taste it because I want others to experience whiskey. Name one bourbon on your shelf or whiskey that surprises people when you tell them you love it.
I'd say Lefroy 10 for me. I like Scotch. I like the peatiness, and I think it has that. That's when I want to have something tasty, like in terms of the Scotch, that's my go-to.
So this is kind of just weird. It's not an expensive bottle, but it is really good. It's Old Granddad, their bottle and bond.
Hey, nothing wrong with that.
It's like bottom shelf price, but it is easy to drink. It's aged 4 years, 101 proof. They distill it in the same season. It's just an easy breezy type of bottle to share.
If you could share a pour with anyone, living or dead, who would it be?
My pops.
Awesome.
He's gone. I would have loved to have one. He would be. We talked about the Patel brand, and he was very excited about it. He couldn't wait, and unfortunately passed away before we launched. So that would be.
Love it, Joe.
Mine would be George Washington, because we actually made a George Washington recipe of his bourbon, and Andy still has some at the distillery, and it's phenomenal. So I'd like for him to try our stuff, or Rufus Rose, which honestly, RM Rose is founded in honor of Rufus Rose, and we've done some phenomenal barrels. One is called Founders, and that is to honor him in his legacy of operating over 150 years ago in 1867 out of Atlanta. He was the first Atlanta registered distillery. So I'd love for him to try our Founders in his honor.
All right, here comes a tough one for you. What was the biggest mistake you guys have made while building Patel Bourbon? Don't say coming on Big Chief show.
Well, there goes that reason.
This mistake.
That is a great question, and it I would say I can't think of one, but we almost made one. I would say personally, I almost made one. But I'm glad I didn't, because I'm surrounded with great people and making the right decision. Which was really when we were launching it. I got a lot of feedback from people about, hey, this is too expensive. It's not the right. It's not. You guys are launching a new product. You got to go much cheaper. Be in line. And really, Joe was essential in making sure that, hey, don't listen to everybody. Trust me on this. What we were talked about it is the way we want to go. And I'd say probably that, in my opinion, that's almost made that, because I was very keen on listening to people and say, hey, let's go versus going with the gut. Yeah.
And to Hamel's point, it's easy to say, hey, to get in the market, I just want to come in, just start on the low tier and eventually make my way to the top tier. And, the whole point of Bespoke and Patel Bourbon is that you're starting from the top, and then we're going to continue to go up from there. And that's, that was a lot of pressure with other people saying, you can't get there. You can't do that. Who are you guys? You don't have the story behind you.
You
And
didn't
we
have
said,
the
well,
pedigree, right?
yeah,
Correct. Correct.
we said, well, all right, maybe we'll prove you wrong.
All right. Last question for you. Finish the sentence. The perfect whiskey moment is.
Outside by a fire with friends and a shitload of snow falling around you.
That's a great music, close friends, and in snow.
My perfect whiskey moment is always finding another story to drink whiskey with good folks like yourselves. That's the perfect moment for me. Trying to find that story behind somebody,
Yeah.
and getting to tell it to the world. That's what I do this for. Is to find guys like you, to find brands like you guys, and help you promote your whiskey out there, to sell more whiskey, and to let people experience what I get to experience. I don't think it gets much better than that right there. What's next for Patel Bourbon? What do you guys got coming up? What do you got up them sleeves?
Yeah, we're constantly looking to evolve ourselves, right? So we've kind of created 4 lines of businesses. So one is our bespoke line where we just went through. We've got a liquor store picks or retailers pick, which we'll call Patel Proof. We got our first one coming around the corner. We've got curator's cabinet, that is the finishing, finishers, different woods, different what have you, right? And then we're also looking at a private labeling, which is really working with the corporates and really giving them the best whiskeys to put their own label on it.
I love it. Great. Looks. I just can't wait to see what you guys do and to see the future of it. Now, if we're looking for you on social media or your website, where can we find you on social media?
Social media, we got Instagram and Facebook. Look us up at Patel Bourbon, and our website is www.patelbourbons.com.
And then where can listeners find your whiskey at? Because that's important, right? We got to find your whiskey. So where can we find it at?
All our location stores, as well as the restaurants, everything is on our website. So go to our locator on our website, and you'll find one nearby you.
Hey,
And we would love if there is your favorite liquor stores, if you want to get us in, please reach out to us, and we'll make sure that we talk directly with them and try to get our whiskey in there.
And you launched in Texas, right? So,
yeah, Big Chief.
Sir.
Yeah, Big
go ahead,
Chief.
Joe.
Space City Liquors outside of Houston. They've got our 4 expressions out there, and then we also have a buy button on our website where you can purchase. And I think we have it right, Hemal, where you can purchase a bottle. And so if you're across the United States, except Utah and South Dakota, not sure why South Dakota, but apparently they don't want bottles brought in. You can order online, and it's through Bottle Nexus, which goes through Longhorn Spirits. And so we obviously want the ability to let people buy, from other states, legally bring it in, and then we'll do limited offerings at times. Some of these refinishes that we're doing right now, once they get ready, we'll do a pre-announcement and let people know about it, and then you can first come first serve.
Awesome. I got to give a shout out to somebody that was showcasing your guys' whiskey, is Whiskeycation. I want you to go on Instagram and check him out. Whiskeycation. He was over there at that liquor store you just talked about.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he had it, and he was talking about it. And I said, man, I'm about to have these jokers on my show. But I love when other guys like him, folks, go check out Whiskeycation, give him a follow. I want to raise up other brands out there, other content creators that are doing the right thing by brands like Patel Bourbon, guys with a dream, with a cause. That's important to me. Well, guys, I say let's give away a bottle of whiskey. How about we do that?
Yes.
Let's do it. Let's
Now,
do it.
I got this bottle right here behind me, and you guys sent a big boy right here. That last one I was drinking. So it's got that ginger, anise, like I said. Very, very beautiful whiskey right here. This is the 121 proof 95.5. Now, what we're going to do is you got to put an emoji because these guys live over there in Georgia. I want you to put a emoji of a peach. And then I want you to tag 4 friends. I also want you to like and share the post. And then you got to follow the whiskey trip and you got to follow Patel Bourbon. You got to be 21. You got to reside in the United States. I'll do this all week long for 7 straight days. So not only you're going to get one of these right here, a full bottle. I'll try not to drink it. Good Lord. But I know some guys that I can get some more from. But I'm also going to pair one of my whiskey glasses with this. So you'll have a proper glass to drink this out of. You'll see this glass will get you in trouble. But hey, you'll get a glass and one of these, and I'll stick some stickers in there and some other stuff for you. And I also have a t-shirt from these guys. I'll stick in there as well for you. If it's too big for you, you can wear it as a nightgown or whatever. Cut it up, cut the sleeves off, do whatever you're going to do with it. I'm sure these guys would love to see you make a post with it, wearing it. I'd love to see you do something with it and stuff, but a glass, the t-shirt, and the bottle, an emoji of a peach, tag 4 friends, follow the whiskey trip, follow Patel Bourbon, share and like the post, and just really check this brand out. Check out what they're doing. Help. Each proceeds from these bottles go to a great charity. We'll pop that charity up there one more time down there for you before we go. Sounds like a great giveaway, right, guys?
100%.
Sir, absolutely.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate what you do, Big Chief.
Well, I hope everybody will put in for it and support the podcast, support this brand right here. Not all brands are just gigantic out there. They need our help. They need us to lift them up. Rising tides raise all ships. Don't leave these folks out right here. Any last words for listeners or viewers out there? We'll start with you, Hemal.
Now, first of all, thank you, Big Chief, for your service, and thank you for what you do for the bourbon and whiskey community. I think that it's really an honor to be on this show. And really, thanks for bringing up the David Downie Foundation. Really, would really greatly appreciate everyone's support. Like I said earlier, even $10, right? It goes a long ways. So please visit our website. And last, we thank you in advance for trying out Patel Bourbon.
Joe?
Big Chief, obviously, thank you for your service and your patriotism to this great country. And honestly, man, I would love to collaborate with you and your audience on a special Big Chief barrel, and we could have some really cool coasty stuff associated with it for your longevity in that branch. And my brother Kevin was a coastie, and so there's a lot of appreciation for what you guys do in that that world of keeping the water safe and so on and so forth. So no, man, I just thank you. I mean, and if you haven't tried this yet, give us a try. Pick out just one bottle of your recipe, and I think you'll be a fan for life. We put our heart and soul in it, and we're going to do a lot of really fun things, a lot of unique things that I think are going to change people's opinion on how you can present bourbon out there in the market, and do something small. We're not trying to be the big boy on the block. We want to do small things that are very meaningful and that are enjoyable, and hopefully can add to your collection.
Well, listeners, let's test the waters a little bit. Let's see how many damn coasties I got listening to me and see what you guys think about this collaboration idea. I just want to take a gander and see what we got out there. But if you're a coastie and you've listened to this and you're putting in for the giveaway, or if you're commenting on the episode, I want you to put Lifesaver and Heartbreaker on there in the comments. And let's see how many coasties are paying attention to old Big Chief. Guys, thank you for taking this ride with me. Thanks for sharing your whiskey. Absolutely delicious. I just really can't thank you enough for sharing your stories with me. That's what it's all about. Now, listeners out there, you know where you can find old Big Chief on social media. You can find me at The Whiskey Trip on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and now YouTube. Yes, hit that subscribe button and make sure you get reminded each week, hey, that big ass joker's doing another show. You got to watch it. Please do that. If you're listening to me, you need to listen to Mark and Matt from the Bourbon Life. That's who I do my audio portion with over on all podcast platforms like Apple and Spotify and Amazon and iHeartRadio. But if you're listening to me, make sure you listen to Mark and Matt and the whole crew over there at the Bourbon Life. And then if you like what you're listening to, leave us that 5-star review and some comments over on Apple Podcast. Those comments, those 5-star reviews open up doors to brands like Patel Bourbon and gets great guests on my show like Hemal and Joe. I know there's a lot of brands out there that need help. If you have a distiller in your backyard and you want them to come on the show, reach out to me at mike@thewhiskeytrip.com. That easy, mike@thewhiskeytrip.com. I'll get them on my show. We'll do a story for them and tell about their whiskey, what you find so fascinating. I'd love to do that for you. So reach out to me. I'm very approachable. Keep listening. Like I said, if you are in the Houston area on June 27th, that's this Saturday, get yourself some tickets to America 250 at Giant Texas Distillery. Blue Bolt Spirits is putting that on for Whiskey Valor Foundation. They're trying to eradicate drinking and driving in the military by providing Uber vouchers for military community for veterans like myself. So I'd really appreciate it. We're going to put that up down below for you. You can visit the website if you can't go and donate to them. I know Lewis over there at Whiskey Valor Foundation, he could use all the help he can get. But if not, come out and see old Miss Viv and myself over there at Giant Texas Distillery. Just don't touch my damn cowboy hat. This is old Big Chief, and thanks for taking this ride with me, baby.
Thanks to our sponsors, the Heritage Flag Company and Guardian Coins, for making this episode possible. A special thanks to Patel Bourbon for sharing their whiskey and story. Cheers.